All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Those Muckrakers, the shouty radio people, the angry young liberal cuck George Soros funded. What other names do they have for us?
Deep state liberal.
Deep state, yeah. The deepest of deep state liberals. We're so deep, in fact, the other deep state liberals don't know of us, and I'm podcasting from the middle of a fucking closet.
Yep. And I'm podcasting from a state that's about to have Antifa bust in by the thousands by George Soros.
Dude, how do I get some of that fucking fake-ass George Soros money? I want it.
I know, right? Like, apparently we could be getting paid to say bad things about the president, according to a bunch of, let's call them mentally incapable people on Twitter.
Why don't we just call it what it is and just call them the Nazis?
Yeah.
Because
basically, it's Nazis versus Antifa. So, who do you think is going to be on the right side of history? Well, people are saying Soros is busting in Antifa, which makes sense since Soros is code for Jews. So Jews versus Nazis actually sounds right to me.
Yeah,
but of course, it's still deplorable conspiracy theory.
If the main group that opposes you are known as the anti-fascists, and you call them the anti-fascists, what does that fucking make you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of their anti-Antifa propaganda is, when fascism comes to your shore, it'll come under the guise of anti-fascism. So they're trying to say, no, you, is their argument.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, Hitler did the same thing when he was just like, when fascism comes to the shores, it will come disguised as a Jew, because the fascists are Jews. That was his whole...
That's also an anti-Antifa thing that they do. They say, well, just remember that when the Nazis were taking over, they disrupted rallies. So they're trying to say that the Jewish-funded, supposedly, Antifa interrupting the Nazi rally is them trying to take over like the Nazis did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a real dumb case of I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah, holy shit, that is it.
Yeah.
No, you! You are. No, I'm rubber, you are glue.
I am rubber, you are the glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you!
999!
Yeah, exactly. That's all I hear whenever, they're fucking yelling about their bullshit. God, it's been a hell of a week. I've gone from, not liking Comey to hating Comey to understanding Comey a little bit better back to, I don't know how I feel about Comey anymore.
I feel like that he believes he's doing the right thing, and that he has continued to do the right thing along, and he's done a lot of stuff that I approve of, and a lot of stuff that I think has damned this planet to its destruction, right? Because he did kind of inadvertently get Trump elected, so he might have destroyed the planet. But he wasn't alone in that. Keep in mind there were a lot of forces going against Hillary back then. He was just sort of one more nail in the coffin, not the last nail. Though he was the last nail in. But the last nail in doesn't necessarily mean that it was the most effective nail.
So Comey, all right, so Comey's like Rorschach from The Watchmen. Hillary Clinton is Ozymandias. And I guess Bernie would be Dr. Manhattan?
God, now I'm picturing Bernie with a blue penis.
What is the idea? We don't deserve Bernie. He's so far above us with his crazy notions of universal income and stuff. Ozymandias, Ozymandias, much like Hillary, incredibly overly qualified, and Comey just sticking to an ideal no matter how many people it kills.
I think how there were 3 other people that ran for the Democratic nomination along with Hillary and Bernie. I wish I could remember any of their names, and then I could say that they're like the guy with the smiling button pen, right? That dies at the start of the movie and the pen rolls away and gets blood splattered on it.
Yeah.
It was Rorschach's friend.
Yeah, I don't remember at all who were the other Democratic nominees.
A lot of people forget that they exist because they say, Hillary only had one other person to run against, and that was a huge thing. It's like, no, she had 4 other people. No, whatever.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
People
don't
even matter.
Care.
So the reason I'm not even going to call them conservatives anymore, I'm just calling them Nazis, is because I realized today I think I'm aging into a conservative, but a real conservative, not a fake I am the conservative. Like, not a fucking Nazi. I just...
Right. You're not a conservative that defines yourself based on what you're against. You don't just look at what the other side of the aisle's doing and say, well, I hate everything about that. No.
Yeah,
you have real principles and ideas.
I'm kind of, I don't know, man. I feel conservative in that, like, I just realized, like, today that it occurred to me, I go, oh my God, I think that everybody on both sides are a bunch of pussies.
Yeah. I mean, the Democrats for a long time have had a hell of a lot of opportunities to actually do a lot of good, and they don't because they're worried about what's fair to the other side, right? But the other side doesn't give a shit about anything except telling the Democrats no, so fuck them.
But the other side, the problem with the other side, too, is they like to be like, hey, listen, we're the party of John Wayne and getting things done. We're the party of Chevy trucks and World War II veterans walking back from D-Day. We got a big old set of testicles, and you know what, liberals? We're going to get her done. Nope. Like, that's the image that they're projecting out there, but they're a bunch of limp-dicked, whiny baby boomers that are like, life is not fair. Why do gay people get to be married? I'm being persecuted.
Yeah, it's they're and whenever they actually try to put their ideas to the test, it always ends up being really bad. Like the Parkland teacher that just recently he decided, there was a big shooting in Parkland in Florida, right?
Yeah.
One of the teachers there decided to go through with the GOP's ideas and armed himself with a gun. And then he promptly left it in a bathroom, which a homeless person wandered along, found and discharged.
That was my favorite part. So he left his fucking gun in the toilet, in the bathroom, and, like, we were talking together, like, God bless homeless people. Like, a crazy homeless dude found it, was like, found myself a gun, it ain't gonna get me now. And, like, fucking
the stakes won't catch me today.
He immediately found the gun and fired it into the restroom. At that point, dumb shit teacher went like, oh my God, I think that was my gun. So he runs back in and, like, wrestles it from the guy. So when they arrested the homeless man, I don't remember if they arrested the teacher. I feel like they arrested both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah, they go, why did you fire the gun? He had the best, most practical homeless man response. He goes, I just wanted to see if it was loaded.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what, man?
So
the best way to find out if a gun is loaded is to just point it at the wall and just start pulling the trigger.
So if it's illegal to discharge a firearm in a public setting, then how's a good guy with a gun ever supposed to actually stop a bad guy with the gun? The exact same thing happened to that woman in the Walmart parking lot when she fired at the guy the police were chasing.
Oh, yeah, the
which
cops
also
were
put
like,
their lives in danger.
Yeah, that story where the cops were like, we're going to chase this guy, and the lady goes, this is my chance! Blam, 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 blam! Like, just starts indiscriminately firing into a Walmart parking lot because she's a good guy with a gun. I'm telling you, man, you want to fix it.
And her takeaway from that was, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just not going to ever help anyone again.
Good.
I'm never helping anybody.
God forbid I go, excuse me, ma'am, can you get the door for me? Lest I get shot.
No. Bam.
Yeah, like.
Well, ouch.
That's why I say, like, we need to arm all schools with their own crazy homeless guy.
Oh, right, going back to that point.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, man, I've worked in jobs where, like, I had to catch, like, shoplifters, and I'm telling you, like, the homeless crackhead dude that's been on the streets, he knows what's up. He's got to be quick or he don't survive long, right? And, like, he's got, like, you won't believe this, but, like, people that have been on the streets, like, long enough, going through the shit, they got like a sixth sense, like a spider sense. Like, they know when shit's happening. Like, that dude in the bathroom just sensed there was a valuable firearm about,
My cocaine sense is a tingling.
Yeah, it's like you got to grab your opportunities, that's how. And so, yeah, you want to have a real alert, just protect the kids. But a crazy homeless crackhead dude, just like, he's got to be vetted. Like, he's got to prove that he's got at least like 5 years homelessness experience. You don't want like new homeless. You want like legit, like, I've been on these streets for a while, kind of, like.
Yeah, old homeless, not new homeless.
Yeah. You're going to have to fingerprint him and make sure he's
experience.
Make sure he doesn't, like, touch children. Like, that's an important, you don't want one of those guys. But, yeah, I think, like, those are the guys that are going to, because, like, the shooter shows up.
That's the bar for the job.
Yeah.
No child molesters.
Yeah, they know. Well, I mean, that would be a higher bar than running for, that's a higher bar than running for politics in Alabama.
Yep. It is a bar Roy Moore will not be able to get over.
Yeah, but but I'm telling you, like that guy, the spider sense. That's what you do. you put homeless people in charge of protecting the children.
Oh my God, there's so much stuff to be mad at this
Jesus
week.
Christ.
Did you know that we're only 1 week out from the Syrian bombing?
Oh yeah. So if you haven't been following the news, and if you're smart, you haven't because you're busy building your fucking end of the world bomb shelter.
Bomb shelter.
So and we don't like. Here's the problem: is like we don't know. Go ahead.
We try to give people practical advice on this show, and this week's practical advice is that canned food does not go bad, with the one exception of baby food. Canned food's good forever, so stock up on that now, and you'll be happy when the fallout.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you there. I don't think that's true.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Canned food's got an expiration date.
Oh, well, that's required. That's actually required by law. Everything that's edible has to have an expiration date printed on it, but it's very rarely true. Like, even Painkiller has a expiration date stamped on it, but that stuff is good for almost ever. 10 years after you buy it, it's only lost about 10% of its potency.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
But what they're actually hoping you'll do is that you'll keep it for so long that you'll be like, oh, it's expired, and you'll throw it in the trash can so that then you'll go and buy more. That sounds like a conspiracy, but it's actually true. They're really hoping that you'll just throw out perfectly good product so that you'll buy more.
Well, I do, and only because, I'm as a man who's had food poisoning a number of times, the one food poisoning I'm scared of as a risky eater that I am is botulism.
Yeah. Well, that's just like look. I've worked in a gas station before, and everything that they serve you food with is never cleaned that well. Like, these are people that are tired, worn out. They don't get paid enough, and we don't even use soap half the time when cleaning, like the hot dog thing that spins those around.
Yeah,
we just sort of wipe off the thickest bits of grease and put the new ones on.
Well, with that, I'm just looking at, like, maybe the heat and my own immune system will protect me. No, botulism is a kind of food poisoning, like, it attacks your central nervous system.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, exactly, fun. And it can attack you, like, I can't remember if it's days or weeks after you start feeling the symptoms. I'd much rather just like, oh man, I just shit my pants. Must have been those hot dogs I had 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So,
we got off topic. Yeah.
But speaking of shitting your pants.
Speaking of things that come out of you during bathroom time, the pee-pee tape's likely real.
Oh yeah, so
that seems to be why he decided to bomb Syria, is just so that the news cycle over the weekend wouldn't be about the pee-pee tape.
Have we done a podcast yet since they arrested Trump's personal lawyer? I can't even remember.
Yeah, 2 of them.
All right, okay. I didn't remember if that had happened yet. So, the thing with Syria, and this is like, God, there's so many fucked up situations. So, like, Syria, so there was some chemical weapons used. There's argument about who did it. The Syrian government are saying not us. They're saying the rebels staged it. But, I mean, like, without having investigators or, 100% proof in front of me, the Assad government is known to have used chemical weapons on their own people before, so it stands to reason that, like, why wouldn't this latest chemical attack be them? Also,
there may not have been a chemical attack. There's also some plausible deniability there. I don't know, though. Like, I wasn't there. I didn't see it happen, but...
Oh, no. I mean, they have other verified the government did it chemical attacks.
Okay.
This one is the only one that, like, there's arguments back and forth whether it's verifiable. But the thing is, like, to attack with chemical weapons, usually have to have some pretty high-tech machinery, which I don't believe the rebels have. Additionally, the way the Syrian government operates makes me think that they would probably not draw the line at chemical attacking women and children, because did you hear about how they bomb cities in Syria?
Who bombs them in particular?
Have you heard about how the government conducts their bombings?
Our government or their government?
Their government.
People.
The Syrian government bombing its own people.
Okay, I was making sure that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
No, tell me about it.
So what they do is they basically take helicopters and they take like a metal oil barrel and they pack it full of like TNT, like as much as they can put in there, and then they just fly over an area and drop it. And it's designed to make the most indiscriminate, largest destructive explosion that it can. So they're just dropping barrel bombs all over the place. Like, ooh, a school, boom. Ooh, a city, boom. Oh, a playground, boom, right?
Yeah.
So if you're willing to just pack a barrel with TNT and drop it indiscriminately on people, I feel like you're probably not going to be like, no, we can't gas them. Like, I mean, what have you got to lose at this point?
Yeah. And speaking of what they have to lose if they gas their own people, God, I have so many updates written on this because an entire week's passed since it's happened, and I've heard so many new things about it.
Well, in response,
right after or during our podcast on last Friday, they bombed Damascus in response for them gassing their own people. It was a joint effort with the U.S., Britain, and France, which actually at first made me think that maybe Britain and France had this planned alone, but just decided to let the U.S. president say that he did it.
When I saw they were involved, I go, maybe they have some legitimate targets and
Yeah, but it does not seem to be that based on another update. But before we get to that, hilariously, our derpy president the next day said, "Mission accomplished." Just on Twitter, he had a mission accomplished speech, which, if anyone doesn't know, that marked the point in which it became okay to make fun of George W. Bush again during we were still at war with or was it just Afghanistan at that point, or were we at war with Iraq yet?
I can't remember if we were in Iraq 2 Electric Boogaloo yet, or if we were still in Afghanistan. But either way, it was right before the war went really badly for us. And there was
because he said mission accomplished, it was like, okay, so the war's done, right? Oh, it's not done, it's still going on, but he said it's over, so he's not really a wartime president anymore. Let's make fun of him now.
Yeah.
And now Trump has attached his own name to that embarrassment in history.
It's because he doesn't have Cambridge Analytica anymore to fucking write his dumb little nicknames.
Yep. Seems that way. So here's the airstrike this week. Remember how last week, before it even happened, I said, yeah, if he did it, it's just going to be like the Syrian airstrip again, where, it didn't really kill anyone, and they're using it again within an hour, and whatever. It's just for show. Well, this airstrike that was supposed to be targeting their chemical manufacturing plants did not hit a single airplane, airfield, or delivery system. The Syrians had plenty of time to move the equipment and chemical stockpiles. The regime had evacuated the targets.
Well, if you remember,
it was the exact same thing happened all over again. Yeah. This was just for show. Him and Putin probably planned it together.
Yeah, well, if you remember, what was really weird about it was after the chemical attacks, he's just like, the United States will respond in 48 to 72 hours. Basically, he came out and said that, the United States will pretend to respond once they've had 48 to 72 hours to move the equipment out.
Yeah, he was trying to communicate with Putin.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why he doesn't just call him on his fucking cell phone, because,
maybe he should just borrow that one guy's soundproof phone booth. And
God, Scott fucking Pruitt. That's a whole other thing. So the head of the EPA thinks people are listening into his phone calls, which I guess maybe rightfully so. So we spent was it $148,000 on a soundproof phone booth?
Yeah, it was a shitload of money.
It was a lot. Now he's in trouble for it, and it's just God damn, dude, get you a burn phone. I don't know. Read you a book on what do they call it? What's the word for the state? It's not statecraft. There's a word for spycraft. Yeah, read a book on spycraft. Use a fucking payphone. God, you fucking idiot.
But speaking of Cohen's lawyer since our last podcast, apparently his third client was Lumpy.
Oh my God, yes, that was my favorite part. So, old Lumpy Sean Hannity coming out every day to suck Trump's dick and the lion of liberal media and defend Cohen and defend Trump. Turns out that little bitch has been using Cohen as his own lawyer too, and they're like, dude, well, that's a conflict of interest. You didn't disclose that shit. And he's like, I only asked him a few questions, and I expect attorney-client privilege. Oh, shut the fuck up, you little. That's what bothers me is they're big to it.
I love the Fox News doublespeak on all that. It's like he wasn't his lawyer. He was only asking him for legal advice. That's what you do with lawyers. You ask them about legal advice and get legal things clarified for. Okay, and also their spin gradually evolved too. Well, he never denied it. Well, but he hasn't denied a lot of things. That doesn't mean we suspect it being a thing once you start talking about stuff on a news show. And I know he's technically labeled as opinion and, for entertainment only, but it's on Fox News.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, he's never denied kidnapping the Lindbergh baby either. So I want to put that just on the table. I'm going to go and say it right here on this podcast that I think that Sean Hannity actually kidnapped the Lindbergh baby. He hasn't denied it.
Yep. He was the second shooter on the grassy knoll.
Yeah, he's JFK. We have not gotten to the bottom of. He has not denied that he was involved with the Kennedy assassination. We have not investigated that.
Him and Ted Cruz's father could have been in cahoots.
Yeah, you never know. They could have been in cahoots. I'm not even sure where Sean Hannity was when Benghazi happened. Has he answered those questions yet?
Oh, shit, where was he during 9/11? Was he one of the hijackers? He's never said, I was not one of the hijackers on 9/11.
Come at me, Sean Hannity. Where were you on 9/11? Can you verify it?
Hey, we're just asking questions here, but hashtag he was the 12th guy.
Yeah, hashtag 9/11 hijacker Lumpy Sean Hannity.
Yep.
But that's the thing. He talks so tough, but he's such a little bitch when he gets his nuts in a vice. Oh, no. Oh, I asked him for, fuck you, Sean Hannity.
But my disclosure was that Comey's house. Was that Jared's house?
Yeah, exactly. Cohen's turned into the end of It's a Wonderful Life. And it was in Ivanka's house, and then Sean Hannity's house, and Old Man Potter's house.
Yep.
And they've all been raided by the FBI.
Well, and in wake of all this shit going down, right after Trump said, I'm going to be too busy to go to South America, he decided to spend an entire week at Mar-a-Lago just sort of chilling and relaxing.
Well, he went, he's using Shinzo Abe, the Japanese prime minister, as his cover, they're having high-level talks. But it's funny because Shinzo Abe is also on his way out because everyone's, calling for him to, go for, I guess, corruption and cronyism.
I remember the first time he went over to Japan, there was a controversy over how he fed the carp. And Abe is actually a really cool guy because he understood that Trump's a moron, so he acted like a moron too just to make Trump feel better. It was how Trump fed the goldfish was he just slung the whole box of food in, and that's not how you feed carp or goldfish or whatever the hell they were. They're giant fish.
They'll eat themselves to death and die.
Yeah, so Abe, just to make sure that Trump didn't feel awkward, slung his whole box of food in as well. And then they laughed about it and moved on. And I guess someone else had to get in there and clean out the thing before all the fish died.
Yeah, that's why I like the Japanese. I like the Japanese and the Chinese culture because it's very much we are so very stupid like you. It's a brilliant policy. If you go meet a foreign leader that is a moron, then you just act like a moron too, and he'll be like, "You're my best bud." Yes, I am. It's perfect because you don't want to.
And it works.
Yeah.
It works because look at how many policies against Japan Trump's done. Zero.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't want to. You don't want to upstage them and look like you're literate or anything. So you just. It's how you blend in. You just go, man, I'm dumb as hell too, and they're like, I love you. Yeah, you're my only friend in the world, Shinzo Abe.
Fish, I love fish. Fried fish, fresh.
He Bubba Gumped him. That's awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, so, God, when my biggest worry, and I guess I shouldn't have worried because we didn't have a de facto Russian president, was Russia was really pushing back on if we launched anything against Syria, they were going to destroy the missiles and also destroy where the missiles came from, which is a pretty big threat.
They were gonna, because that would have actually started World War III if they launched missiles at America. Now, we probably would have just, countered those missiles with our own and blown them up long before they got to the launch site. Yeah. But still, that's a direct threat at America.
And then China was kind of China, and here's what I hate is China's backing up Russia. I mean, of course they probably would, but at the same time, I was kind of hoping that China and Russia would stay at odds so that they don't form a coalition against us.
And speaking of Asian leaders, China's leader is leader for life now, so
it's
not like Abe at all.
Well, we already talked about that, because Trump was what's it? I keep messing up his name.
That sounds good to me. I'm going to be leader for life, too.
Well, his name is it Jinping? Is that his name? Xi Jinping? Am I saying it right?
Maybe. I don't know his
God,
name.
we're so underfunded and under-researched here.
I only know Shinzo Abe. But,
anyway,
I don't know the other guy.
So that guy has become, again, like, he's become China's leader for life, and Trump really liked that. And then, I don't remember if we talked about it in the last podcast, but, like, fucking Trump was just like, I don't know, like, maybe 3 terms, like some other presidents. They won't let me do it. I'm just kidding. They're going to say I'm a monster, but let's not do it. Do you want to do it? If you want to do it, we'll do it. I'm like, is this dude talking himself into becoming a dictator in front of a mic?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
This is
he's already talked about arresting reporters on memos. So
yeah, but it's super weird when he starts having thoughts in front of a live audience, like with the wall, where he's like, "We're gonna put up a wall they can't get over unless they use ladders, or maybe like a tiny little helicopter, or possibly come through where you can legally come through and overstay their visas." Huh? Yeah. Like in front of an audience, it's like he's figuring out how to be a dictator, and he's saying these things. I feel like at least Hitler wasn't in front of a hot mic when he was learning how to speak. You know what I mean? Like all his things were in front of a small audience, but this guy's like, I don't know, maybe we lock up all the opposition, so then we're the single party, so then people have to vote for us. We'll start a fake war, declare people that are against us enemies of the state. I don't know, it could work. Do you want to do it? I don't know, is that weird? Will they go along with it? Can I dissolve Congress? And you're like, he just said all this out loud. Somebody stop him.
Yeah, it's that's why the what he meant was crowd is so dangerous in Trump's corner, because they can keep making their monster seem a bit more sanitary and easily digestible to his less deplorable followers.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are just people that are trying to cling to power as best they can through him for as long as possible, like Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
You know, you could get rid of him and like still cling to power, and like it would be better for all of us, is all I'm saying.
You really think that half his administration would have jobs if he wasn't around to make sure? Like the one guy with the crazy fucking mustache.
I mean, yeah, but no, but like Congress would. They would still have jobs. Like
John Bolton.
He's kind of the de facto leader of their party, but they could get rid of him and get a new leader.
Yeah, he's definitely making their party look bad, but right now Mitch McConnell can still pretend like nothing's going on. I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't wait.
That's why he's blocking their attempt to, what do you call it, protect Mueller, while also pushing for the Comey memos to be released, which backfired spectacularly. Guess who had the final say in the memos before they were released?
Who's that?
Rosenstein.
Oh, wait, is Rosenstein on Trump's side or against? I can't keep track anymore.
Very against. Like, he's on, even though he's a Republican, he's still largely on the American people's side.
Like, I'm still waiting for, like, him to just get in front of a hot mic and be like, I don't know. You know, folks, maybe the Second Amendment people can do something about it. Maybe if I cut off Jeff Sessions' head and put it on a pike, it'll send a message and everybody will be nice to me. I don't know. Let's not do it. I'm kidding. But you want to do it for real?
Before we get to the Rosenstein, though, you know what else happened this week?
I mean, there's a lot of shit. You're going to have to be more specific than that.
Tax day happened. Everyone has to file their taxes. So, when asked if he'd be releasing his 2017 tax returns, Trump said that he couldn't yet because he hasn't even finished filing them, so he asked for an extension on the deadline, which, by the way, this is his endless audit thing he claimed on the campaign trail, which prevented him from releasing his tax returns. That never, first of all, he's never released his tax returns, and that endless audit, which hasn't been proven to exist, would not have prevented him from releasing his tax returns in the first place, because the worst thing that could happen if you release your tax returns is you might get audited. So that had always been a bullshit line this entire time. If he is under audit, it would be safer to release them. This is something we've never gotten to talk about because the podcast started so late into his presidency.
I don't know why he doesn't release them, because at this point it doesn't fucking matter what he does. They're not...
Because he's poor and he hates that fact. He is shit on his family's fortune his entire life.
Yeah, but I want to
He inherited a fortune and then he destroyed it.
But you know, people will be like, no, man, you see, he's smart. He ain't claiming no money on the government, but he's got like a Scrooge McDuck vault of gold coins with his face on them, and he swims in them every day. I tell you what.
I mean, he has bullshitted his followers the entire time.
All he's got to
while
do is
being the least transparent motherfucker ever, ergo the most obvious con man ever, and his voters still fell for it.
All he's got to do is release his tax returns and then go, fake tax returns, guys. They're not real.
There was just speaking of, there was the tax returns from 25 years ago, like the 1 year he did choose to quote unquote leak. Or that was quote unquote leaked, because I'm pretty sure he's the one that leaked it, because he cherry picked like the one time he paid his taxes shortly after his father's death, mind you, whenever his real estate business might have still been profitable a little bit, so that before he completely ruined the family business.
Well, the other idea that no one's talking about is he may not have released his tax returns because all the Russian mobsters he launders money for might fucking kill him.
That could be part of what Vlad has over it. I'm sure that Vlad knows about all this by this point.
Well, yeah, well, that's
right?
the whole thing. It's like, so there's a cool podcast that I want to start listening to, but I try to keep my life, I try to minimize Trump. It's called Trump Incorporated. It's this cool podcast that basically just digs into his corporations and how they work and stuff like that. And it's like I've said before, what's really interesting is, if you notice, when it comes to politics, people who are huge, like real estate magnates, don't get involved in politics directly because they have, like, the real estate business is just like, there's too much shady shit and money laundering going through that, right?
Yeah.
And so they don't get it because they don't want their shit aired out. And so for a long time, it seems like he's been making deals with like Russian mobsters and stuff like that, where like, yeah, we'll build a Trump Tower on the Black Sea, guys. And they're like, yes, we'll buy units in your shitty tower. And so, like, they buy units, their money goes through, comes back out clean, yada, yada, yada. A lot of money laundering. Yeah. Basically, you put your money into a business, and then you withdraw money from that business, and you have a legitimate, like, like on taxes, oh, we got money from this, right?
Yeah, that's for anyone that hasn't seen Breaking Bad, basically you take ill-gotten funds, like stolen money or drug money or whatever, and then if you have a business, you can just sort of say, well, all this was purchased, so here's the money for that, but then nothing was ever actually purchased. You're just faking the purchases, but here's the money, here's the receipts, here's the paper trail.
Right.
This is where the money came from.
It looks like the money's coming from a legitimate business, yeah.
And the reason you do this is so that it's taxable and traceable, so that well, for the taxable part's the most important bit, because that's what they got Al Capone on, taxes.
Yeah. Well, the government's done a really good job of, like, one of the ways they come after criminals is, like, you have to show where your income came from. If you can't prove where the money came from, and pay your taxes on it, like, that's how people go to jail. So money laundering is a huge business when it comes to that. And one of the great ways to launder money, as far as businesses go, is through real estate and through construction projects. Because in construction projects, there's so many places to, like, blow out the budget and be like, oh yeah, we spent so much money on, like, just, it's great. So you basically invest in these projects that never get done, and they go over budget and whatever, blah, 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 until, like, your money's clean, and then you take your investment back out. And so he's involved with a bunch of that, as are a lot of real estate people. So that could be part of the reason, like, he's like, listen, guys, I can't release my tax returns because people will legitimately kill me, okay? They will kill my whole family. It'll be great. You'll be very happy.
Oh, you're going to be so happy,
You're
believe me.
You're going to be so happy when they kill my whole family. Okay, so no tax returns. I don't know, maybe the Second Amendment people can do something about that, okay?
Yep.
But yeah, so, like, he's like, and in that light, you feel kind of like, oh man, this poor dumb bastard. Like, he should have never taken this job, because it's a risk.
That about Hannity this week.
Huh?
People have been saying that about Hannity this week. They realized that he went from some disgusting guy that they hated that was just all like, oh, why are they going after Cohen and Trump's lawyer and all that? But then later you realize, oh, he's just, like, freaking out and scared. It's like, don't go after Cohen. Why are you letting him do this? America, help me.
Yeah.
It really humanized him.
It really humanized him when he's like, I have to go to Mexico and change my name. My new name is Senor Lumpy. Senor
Lumpy.
Senor Lumpy. I'm going to be on Mexican Fox News. Hola, senors, senoritas.
Hola.
I would love for him to be in like a third-rate Mexican news channel, but now he's railing against whatever conservative Mexican news rails against.
Excuse me, are you Sean Hannity? No habla inglés.
No, Sean Hannity, no here, no. No, Sean Hannity.
God.
What I really hope happens is I want Hannity to go to fucking jail.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because what he's
It'd
already
be nicer if Trump went to jail, because he said, I'm a germaphobe, that's why the ladies weren't allowed to pee on me. Like, that was his defense against the pee-pee tape.
Yeah, so I didn't pay prostitutes to pee because I'm a germaphobe.
Even though, like, actually we explained it last week, there's a huge, like, area that he could have been in that's outside of the splash zone.
I like how you're doing this like the Kennedy assassination when you've got like the recreation, like a diorama and like strings, and you're like, no, he could have been over here 30 feet. I've got this set. He's got to have been there.
It's a big room. Like, people have been there to check it out. And, he would have had tons of room to have been like able to walk around and watch the hookers defile Obama's old bed while being safely outside of what they call in SeaWorld the splash zone.
Well, I thought about it the other day before we podcast, and I go, well, why don't the prostitutes just come out and say, and then I went, oh, it's Russia. Oh, they're dead. They're fucking dead.
Yeah, like Vlad has spent a lot of time cleaning up behind Trump and making sure there's.
I was like, why don't we just find these prostitutes? Oh, because they've been killed and stuffed into a meat grinder and like spread over a 10 mile. They're gone. Their birth records are probably pulled because what's really interesting about Russia is they're really good at erasing you. So they can kill you, and then they just go back and like delete all record that you were ever born. It's kind of scary in a kind of impressive way.
Yeah. Like this is the type of thing I'd be way more impressed about if it wasn't like fucking America.
Yeah. Well, to the point in which during their space program, they had a bunch of unsuccessful space stuff, right? Before they were really successful at getting a man into space. And one of the things,
Sputnik. Before Sputnik and all that.
Well, one of the things they did was they had, when like, disasters would happen, they would cover it up, and then they would go back into, like, the military photos of, like, the astronauts that died, and they would fucking Photoshop them out of the photos and records. And you're talking, This is in, like, the 40s and 50s before we had, like, computer
before
Photoshop.
The Red Scare.
Huh?
Well, I was going to say, if it was the 40s, it would have been before the Red Scare.
But yeah, well, it was like 40s, like the 40s, 50s, and 60s, like when the space program really took off. But yeah, so they were old school, spending time to Photoshop dudes out of photos so they could be like, so what happened when Yuri exploded? And they're all like, who was Yuri? So they're like, he's right here in the photo. He's gone. It was like some Back to the Future Marty McFly shit. We were like, Doc, he just vanished.
Marty, it's your daughter. What's wrong with my daughter? She's in Russia. She became an astronaut.
Marty, don't fuck with the Russians. So like the whole point I was getting at was so Lumpy's using that same lawyer. It's very possible Lumpy got into some dirty money or some dirty dealings, and now he's just like, I'm in trouble.
I'm in trouble. Yeah,
so I mean, like, it's very, very possible that like he's done some shady shit too. They're all using the same fucking lawyer, like, and he said it was about real estate. So you be the judge, man. Like, I'd be real excited to hear. So Lumpy's in trouble, and my favorite right now, people are suing the pants off Alex Jones.
Alex Jones is losing his shit too. Like, he hated the Syria thing the other day.
Oh my God.
He really is a peacenik. Like, deep down, he hates seeing people die. He hates seeing wars. So whenever Trump decided to okay the airstrike over there, he finally said, let me find the quote. Okay, exact quote. Fuck Trump, fuck his family, God fucking damn it. He's actually starting... Oh, another quote. If only he had been shit from the beginning, this wouldn't be so hard, while crying.
Yeah.
And of course, we agree that Trump was shit from the beginning, but Alex Jones is just now seeing that, and he's actually starting to regret leaving his children to defend Trump. He lost his kids to defend this guy.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's my whole thing, and so a little bit of background on, this is really interesting. Yeah, he went to a court hearing where, like, they showed clips of his show. I guess he was so unstable he lost his kids. Like, So I could almost feel bad for Alex Jones if he had not gone on that whole Sandy Hook is a false flag operation. These are all crisis actors. So people with dead, murdered children, are getting death threats from Alex Jones fans going, "You piece of shit! You didn't really lose a kid." So like they lost their children in an unnecessary school shooting, and then people are like piling it on. So it's like I feel bad when anybody hurts, even in Alex Jones. Like the dude was crying. Like the other guy on stage with him was like just kind of like, what do I do? And like just Jones was just like, it's so hard. It been a piece of shit from the beginning. But like, so all right, my grandmother.
You know what this means now, right?
What?
That Alex Jones is now a far left wing nut. He is too far left for the current political climate.
Perfect. Well, the people from the Sandy Hook parents are suing him for defamation of character because he basically went on, slandered the shit out of them. They got death threats, and now they're finally suing him. And everyone's like, "Well, it's kind of surprising it took that long for a lawsuit to happen." Honestly, because that's, I mean, he really really hurt
Deserves it.
Yeah, well, he really hurt these people's lives. Like I don't like libel laws. Like I kind of like. It's just I've always been kind of like, someone said something bad about you, but I understand why they exist. This is one instance when like that whole character assassination libel law thing, like you can't go on air and say blatantly false shit about people because your audience will believe it.
Yeah, you can't just destroy people's lives by needlessly attacking them.
And especially people whose kids were murdered, like that's that's real, like, come on, dude, like
it's just morally fucked up on top of everything
it's morally
else.
fucked.
But you're telling a story about your grandmother?
Yeah, so it's like something I said to my grandmother. I didn't say it to her. I had a spat with my grandmother a while back because I started like writing letters to her because I'm like, she's old. We'll write letters and get to know each other better, and it'll be a fun thing. So the first two were very like peppy and happy, and then I just get this angry letter from her about like I need to, like, I can't even remember all the stuff, but it was basically like I need to stop disrespecting the president and like how my political leanings were all wrong and like I'm in my soul's in mortal danger and all this and that and the other, yada yada yada, and like just this whole thing like where basically like I had gone super, I guess I had gone left and like it was just So the point is, I wrote back to her, and like, I mean, I didn't give her this letter, but I wrote a letter back, and then I didn't send it. But it was basically just like, I remember the line I wrote about like, you can say what you want about my political leanings, but I refuse to follow this guy like a Pied Piper into the bowels of hell, because that's what he reminds me of. He's like this yellow-haired Pied Piper, and you can't believe that people were falling for his siren song.
Yep.
And just merrily marching along. And it's like, I'm not even arguing for you to have independent thought. I'm just saying, look at the man. Understand that he is bad for the country. It doesn't matter your political affiliation. Like,
you know who he's hurting the most?
The people that voted for him.
Really is the rats. Like, beyond them, look at all the people whose careers he's destroying.
Yeah.
He's finally tearing down Fox News, basically by being such a monster that their whole empire of dirt, their whole house of cards is just falling apart.
But yeah, he's a Pied Piper, and that's the thing. Is like he's just like they're all just kind of like Alex Jones, like, hey, he was shit from the beginning. He was, but it's like we talked about before. He has this really cool ability where people put, like, since he doesn't really stand for anything, people put their own values on him, and they see their own values reflected back in him. So to attack him is to attack them and their own values, even if their values are at odds with somebody else's values that supports him.
Yeah.
There are people I know that up here in New York, like people I know that are like master's degree educated, that like know history, like real smart people that like voted for him because they thought that he would be good for the money. He would be a good financial decision to vote for him. Like they're not on with his politics. They're not like throw all the immigrants back into the ocean. They just thought he'd be. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's why I'd want to sit down with some of those people and explain to them what his history is and how he has a long history of making really bad decisions and just one failed business after the other.
And I don't.
Like, well, what about this one and this one? All failures. What about this one? All failures. All failures. They are all. It's like whenever what's his name was waking up in Red Dwarf. It's like, where's the captain? Where's the crew? They're dead, Dave. Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead. Dave. Well, all of his businesses are failures, Peter. All of his businesses are failures.
Right, but his
Pete.
brand sold him, and I think that's why some of them voted for him. Like, because there's different reasons. Like you said, there's different reasons.
His brand worked because people wanted it to work. Like he was.
Yeah.
People had a different idea of who he was in mind, and they thought it'd be cool if someone like that existed, so they made it work.
Yeah. So that's the thing about, and that's where I think I've talked about before, but I think that's what Obama's major failure was that he was not able to sell America on things that I feel like maybe he didn't realize you needed to sell America on, like healthcare, right?
Right.
I feel like if again, God forgive me for saying this, because honestly, even though I disagree with a lot of his policies, on the record books, Obama was a pretty good president and did some good things. But if he had had whatever this Trump brand level of salesmanship was, if he had been able to sell American healthcare like Trump sells Trump steaks, we'd all have unimpeded universal healthcare right now. You know what I mean?
It's every time someone says, you just got to put someone that's not as bad as Hillary up next time, what I always hear from them is, you just got to put up a white male next time so that we can see eye to eye.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what they want more than anything. It's
we talked...
a return to white male presidents.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole... Like, I didn't read the comments responding to it, but I saw a guy today, and he's a troll. He posts on my friend's comments, and he comments on my friend's stuff, but he goes, what's wrong with Make America Great Again? And I know he doesn't really want to know what's wrong with it. He just wants to troll people. But the idea was that, like, we need to go back to a better time in America, and there really isn't a time that was better specifically than right now, unless maybe you want to say the 90s, but even the 90s, like, if you were gay, you couldn't get married. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd say 3 years ago. That was pretty good.
Yeah, maybe 3 years ago, but this whole Make America Great Again, like, we're not making it. There's no the again part is the problem I have trouble with.
Yeah, it's
we've always had like troublesome either. Go ahead.
It's just the problem boils down to us having a common ground with the people we're debating with, and they just live in an alternate reality.
Yeah,
like when Cohen was being raided and every other news station was showing that, Fox was showing sex pandas.
Yeah. That's the point I want to make too, is like, I've stopped arguing with these people because, like, we were talking about, we've discussed many times, you can't have a discussion with somebody if they don't share a common reality with you.
Right.
So we got to start out with like a same basic understanding of like the laws of nature, and like that's why you can't argue with a flat earther, because they don't even agree on basic science.
Yeah. Speaking of flat earthers, by which I mean speaking of the Russian space program earlier, by which I mean speaking of people attempting to get into space, one flat earther was successful in launching himself way up into the air and survived in an attempt to prove that the Earth was flat.
Yeah, I was really mad though, because he just kind of like crash landed, and then he didn't say shit about like what he saw.
Yeah.
I was like, did you see the curvature of the Earth or not, asshole?
Yeah.
Because I was also rooting for him to die, huh?
Just a fun story.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing was when I heard he was going to do it, I was amazed, because I was like, this is a guy that does not believe in science. I can't believe that his calculations are going to be correct enough to get a rocket up in the air without turning into a mini Challenger. And then he did it, and I was like, all right, well, I was proved wrong there. But then he didn't talk about, like, I saw it, or, like, it was flat! Like, nothing. Just, I'd like to recover from my wounds, please. And maybe that's the words of a man who was shaken by the fact that he's wrong.
Yep, it's, the Earth is a flat disc on the back of two elephants that stand on four turtles that are on a stack of turtles.
And, that's what I'm going to say whenever I'm inevitably arrested by the Gestapo. And they're like, we heard you have been saying bad things about the president. And I'll be like, well, the Earth is a flat disc held up by two elephants on the backs of four turtles. We will torture you now. Fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's make torture great again.
I have a whole rain rant like written out, but I don't know if it's even worth going through. It's just it's frustrating whenever you try to convince someone that wants a level of evidence from you that just cannot exist.
Well,
like if
that's the Cohen effect. Remember when they were talking about he's doing real bad in the polls, and Cohen was like,
says who?
Says who? Man, I hope he did that when the police busted into his house to arrest him, and they're like, "We're here to arrest you and seize evidence." Says who? And then they just slapped the cuffs on him.
Yeah. How's it go? I actually had it written out. Why are you telling me that rain is water? Do you have photographic evidence of every drop of rain that's ever fallen from the sky? No. Well, then how do you know that most of it wasn't chocolate? Webster says it's usually water. Well, Webster's is a biased liberal cuck, so try again. Scientists, they're just telling you that it's water because they want money. It's raining outside right now and I could go check it with my own senses. Well, what about Hillary's emails? How can you prove to me that they weren't the one that's actually water?
Yeah.
So that's what it feels like when I'm talking to these people, and then they just deflect to Hillary at the end, and it's like, God damn it.
Yeah, that's why I don't try, because they don't, there's a whole movement about, I don't owe you a debate, because that's their whole thing is the goalpost moving ideas. They're just like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Says who? What about this? They get to the point where I'm just like...
goalpost of this Mueller, or there'll never be a special investigation. Okay, there is. Well, they'll never find anything. Oh, people are being arrested. Well, it doesn't have evidence linked direct. They're not arresting anyone directly linked to Trump, even though they are. But it's just a coffee boy or whatever. Okay, whatever. Now his lawyer's been arrested. Well, that's still not charges against Trump himself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a level of
they just keep moving the goalpost.
Yeah, it's like a cult mentality. I get so yeah. So the big thing I wanted to talk about today too was I downloaded Comey wrote a book and it's driving Trump crazy. He had a tweet and I can't remember it exactly, but it was some shit how come crooked? What did he call Comey? It's not Crooked Comey, which would have made sense. What is it?
Slippery Comey?
Slippery Comey. I don't know. He doesn't have Cambridge Analytica, so his dumb nicknames don't stick anymore. But Crooked Comey. Huh?
I know that Slippery Comey is one of them. Hold on, I tweeted earlier. He misspelled it too.
Crooked Comey would have been good. You know what I mean?
Shady James Comey was his most recent one.
So
he misspelled shady.
So it was just
SHADEY is how the president of the United fucking States says it, as he's insulting a private citizen. By the way,
wait,
he's not even a government anymore.
SHADE?
SHADEY.
Oh, I was like, did he just call him Shade Comey? So yeah, he was like, how come Shade Comey gets to go on a book tour while good people like Michael Flynn's lives were ruined? And I'm like, Michael Flynn's life was ruined because he fucking broke the law, huh?
Trump's the one that fired him. Trump's the one that ruined his life.
Yeah, Trump ruined his life. Trump and Flynn worked together to ruin his life.
Yeah. So it's like, what?
Dude, I don't know what else to tell you about, at some point, he's just going to come out and start saying, I'm telling you, it's like I said earlier, he's just going to start tweeting okay, guys, is there a reason why we haven't just cut off Mueller's head? Okay, I'm just saying, kings back in olden times did it. # Prima Noctra, okay?
Yep. And that brings us back to Rosenstein's trolling of Trump. And if any of the audience has been following, yes, I do go back and forth between Rosenstein and Rosenstein because I'm not sure which one it is. But so the GOP had been pushing for him to release the memos, the Comey memos, for a while. And finally, after months, he got tired of them asking, so he did release them, but heavily redacted, which means most of it's blacked out so they can't read it.
Yeah.
And what is readable looks really bad for Trump because it includes stuff such as him saying that he wanted to have reporters arrested just to straighten them out so that they'll say nice things about him.
Yeah, that was my favorite part when he's like, I don't know, maybe we arrest a couple reporters, throw them in jail for a while, then they start thinking about talking, okay?
Hey,
I also feel like the more I do Trump's voice, the closer I just become to sounding like a cat. I don't know why. It's gotten in that territory where I'm like, listen, okay? Meow, meow, meow.
When you cross fat cat, you go splat, okay?
I want chicken. I want liver. Meow mix, please deliver. Okay? It's the best. You'll be very happy.
So I've learned a lot about Bob Dole this week.
Why the fuck are you See, you're the problem with the media. There's a crisis going on, and you're like, NPR is like, today, we're going to talk about the legacy of Bob Dole. I don't don't care about Bob Dole. I want the world to not be so shitty. But go ahead, give us your Bob Dole news. Fucking liberal fucking mainstream media fucking Patrick Wilder. Hit me with your fucking Bob Dole bullshit.
Working on it. I have to stop laughing first. Okay, so I'm on a lot of forums a lot of the times online, and one thing I've noticed is that the deplorables deflect to Hillary constantly. So nowadays I look for them to deflect to Hillary, and I counter with facts about Bob Dole, just because that's equally as irrelevant. So because of that, I've been having to
Bob Dole.
I've been researching Bob Dole so that whenever they're like, and then when Hillary accepted that money, I'm all like, yeah, well, Bob Dole, when he quit his career to run for president, I'm pretty sure he knew ahead of time that he was going to lose to Bill Clinton, and that's why he had a Newt Gingrich scrambling to come up with some excuses to why he so abruptly left the Senate.
You know what? I take it all back. I love this strategy because I was going to say, like, you should do something even dumber, like deflect to Taft, you know? But I actually like this better because this is great because people are like, wait, hold on now, what?
He was clearly the weaker candidate than Bill Clinton. True or false? Huh?
True or false? Come on, you want to have a debate?
Hey, facts matter more than your feelings, all right? Now, are we going to do this or what?
Are you triggered yet? Does Bob Dole trigger you?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Kushner, I have some news about him. He got some subpoenas, but not from Mueller, from Brooklyn. Apparently, Kushner has a habit of filing false paperwork, accidentally writing down 0 instead of hundreds when counting the number of tenants in his building.
Oh, yeah. That was a big news story. Yeah, he did something with the number of tenants in his building. I can't remember if it was for rent control or what it was, but he lied about the paperwork, and then he was trying to go like, oh, that was a misstep, an oversight. We'll fix it. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be like if I got caught with drugs in my car and they're like, what is all this heroin? You're like, oh, that was an oversight. We should have taken that out, officer. Do you feel like Trump looks through his...
an oversight? I didn't mean to do that.
Do you think that Trump just looks through his mail and is like, Publishers Clearinghouse, subpoena, ooh, Columbia Record Club.
Third notice subpoena. Oh, third notice subpoena.
Because like they're all like they all just got like
first notice. I'll just drop that straight into the sewer.
Yeah, they all just got to be just like, man, like tons of subpoenas just all the time because they're getting sued at the federal and the state level, and they're pushing for legislation right now so that if like the all the prosecutions and stuff that the Mueller investigation is turning up. I mean, there's a setup to make sure that they're protected. So if Trump's like, you know what, I blanket pardon everyone, all sins forgiven. Spirit de
all sins are to be forgiven and all slaves freed. Oh,
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Okay, like so they're setting it up so they can be like, oh, we're still prosecuting at the state level. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So I'm glad that they're setting it up so it can't be like, I'm king for life. Everything's legal. Goodbye.
The law is now meaningless. Everyone into the Thunderdome. Okay.
Yeah. Listen.
And
I am Judge Trump. I am the law.
Speaking of the law not mattering and just everyone into the Thunderdome, apparently now he has Rudy Giuliani as his lawyer.
Oh, yeah, dude, I'm glad you brought that up. That's my favorite thing. The only person who could make his legal trouble worse than is an unhinged Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah,
no, my theory on Rudy Giuliani is like he was a competent like prosecutor and I think mayor and like he was what was he not just a prosecutor. What's the job that Comey had? It's real important to do with the law.
He ran a major legal firm in New York the one that took down the mafia.
So yeah, he's got a lot of legal experience, which is great. And you may think like, oh, this is good news for Trump, right? No, wrong. Somewhere along the line, Giuliani went fucking crazy. Like he looks like that alien from Men in Black is wearing a Giuliani suit.
Yeah,
I feel like
the big roach guy that's who's trying to pretend like he's human.
Yeah, I feel like he's like the guy that wore it because the actor's name was Vincent D'Onofrio. He looks like a fucking roach wearing a Vincent D'Onofrio suit. He's crazy. Like this is not the same Giuliani. He forgot about 9/11.
Yeah, this is this is a guy whose political career was based around 9/11 and being like 9/11.
Yeah, and then like he
screaming
blamed
that like an unhinged lunatic until he started making fun of Obama. In which case it was, we were never attacked by terrorists on American soil until Obama.
And then so this dude's so crazy. Yeah, it's like the alien didn't read our history. This is it. So. He is the only person who could make Trump's legal woes worse because he's gonna be, he's gonna be in a courtroom and they're gonna be like, all right, does the defense wish to cross-examine? And he's gonna be like, sugar and water. They're gonna be like, excuse me, sugar and water.
Oh, also Giuliani's most likely under Mueller's investigation too, so.
Yeah,
this is a little thing that not a lot of people remember and know about, but way back right before the Comey memo, 11 days before the election came out, Giuliani was on TV talking about it. He had that information leaked to him before it was actually released to Congress, who then leaked it to the media, but Giuliani knew it before anyone because he has leaks inside the FBI.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he's most likely under investigation for that.
Well, I remember that like Trump rally. He came out and he just goes, America! Like
that was RNC Convention.
Dude, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude?
America! If any listeners want to have a fun time, look up Rudy Giuliani RNC 2016.
Yeah.
It is insane.
It wasn't even
super unhinged.
It wasn't even like a fun like America. Come on, guys, USA, USA. It wasn't even like that. It was just like I'm crazy.
Yep.
Like, oh my god, dude. Like, so I for one am real excited that like he's joined the Trump legal team because like. He's the only thing that can make this worse.
But I will tell you one thing that bums me out a lot is that right now, the Trump administration feels like we're playing the most unfair Mega Man game that has ever existed.
I'm not familiar with Mega Man games because I found them to be both boring and annoying. But I know that you love Mega Man. You love Mega Man the way Trump like promises to do great things.
So in Mega Man, the goal is there are 8 robot masters in each game, and you have to defeat them before you can move after Dr. Wily. In our case, Dr. Wily would be Trump, and before we can go after him, we have to take out every member of his deplorable administration, right?
Yeah.
Except with Trump right now, it feels like we're steadily defeating robot masters such as Bannon Man, Michael Flynn Man, Hope Hicks Woman. But instead of seeing them defeated for good and working our way towards the final boss, they keep getting replaced with new, more obnoxious bosses.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I just defeated Sean Spicer Man. He had an ice level. It had like blocks you slide off of while trying to jump over spikes. But then, a secret mini boss appeared after him. Scaramucci?
Yeah, that's because these people are the Saiyan version of idiots. As soon as you beat
Peter,
somebody...
you wouldn't believe what robot master power you get whenever you defeat Scaramucci.
The power to suck your own dick!
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no! But then, whenever he was defeated, he was replaced by Sarah Huckabee Sanders Man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And she has an even longer and more obnoxious ice level than Sean Spicer had.
I'm gonna make you an even better analogy. So they're like the Saiyans in Dragon Ball Z, right? So every time you beat part of his administration, and you're like, I have defeated it, it finds a new level of stupid, and you're like, oh my god, its stupid level is over 9,000.
Yeah, whenever Saiyans recover from a near-death experience, they're even stronger than before.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
That works too.
The Trump
administration,
every time it recovers from a near-death experience, it becomes even stupider than it was before.
And this all leads to how Kohan Man, a.k.a. Lawyer Man, was just defeated, only to be replaced with 9/11 Man.
Yeah, that's my new name for Giuliani, 9/11 Man.
You can't beat a Mega Man game if the bosses just keep replenishing. So we have to either get them all out of the way so that we can go after Dr. Wily, a.k.a. Trump, or I don't know. It's we're definitely the underdogs here because in this game in particular, Trump has already taken over the world, and we're just trying to like get it back.
I don't think we're the underdogs yet because, like I said, like Rudy Giuliani is an unhinged lunatic, and that might be great at rallies full of your own people, but I don't think it's going to help you in a courtroom when they're like, yeah, does the defense wish to speak? And the defense just goes, America! Like, that's not going to help in a court of law.
He is coming to push for an end to the Mueller investigation, but so far the only thing they've done is gotten since he's come on board, is get the Comey memos to be released, which we've already discussed.
Yeah, we're terrible because then it's the president threatening reporters. I'm telling you, he's like, 9/11, man, may be the best thing to happen. Like, this administration upsets me and annoys me, but I am excited about Giuliani. I really am, because he's crazy.
Yep. Oh, we have some more That's Cute News job reports.
Oh, what's going on with the job market?
So for new listeners, I like to do a segment called That's Cute News, and usually it's about stuff like protesters protesting things that'll never change. But recently I've done a string of...
When we edit this, we really need That's Cute music to go along with this segment.
Doop, boop, boop, boop.
I mean, we could put it in post. You don't actually have to make the music with your mouth.
Womp, 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 womp.
This is why we don't have a soundboard.
Yep. So recently I've been doing jobs report news just because America's been losing a shitload of jobs lately, and it's been getting worse and worse, so I've just sort of been trying to keep track of it all. So let's see how things are doing. GM, how's the auto industry? It did super well under Obama, but right now GM is laying off hundreds of workers in Ohio. And that's the same Ohio that voted for Trump. Their sales have dropped 28% since last year, since the new Trump steel tariffs are poised to decimate profits this year even further. So USPS, how are they doing? Trump just recently ordered them to review ways to make money without charging more in an attempt to fuck with Amazon. But because he hates their CEO because of a personal feud. Their CEO owns Washington Post, I think.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, I believe, if I remember the numbers correctly, Amazon is one of the most, is the USPS's biggest customer, and that's actually one of their most profitable things that they do.
And Trump's trying to fuck with that because he's a petty little turd, and he's right now doing he's literally doing what Fox News accused Obama of doing, picking winners and losers in the free market.
Yeah.
But there's just some more fun facts I discovered, they can't stop. These are different ways they can make money, and one way is they cannot stop prepaying on pensions as they were advised to do so, as it's required by law that they keep doing it. They need Congress to change this. They can't stop making contracts that cost money, such as with Amazon, because they can't actually make such contracts in the first place. Whomever suggested this was dumb, and they can't raise postal rates because in order for that to happen, they need their board of governors to do it. But that hasn't existed since December 8th, 2016. And Mr. Derpy McStupidpants president has not... he's been running the entire United States government on a skeleton crew, so they can't change a lot of the stuff he wants them to change because he hasn't assigned the people that would make those changes.
No, that's fine, because every time you hire somebody, it's the dumbest person I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's good, but right now that means a lot of stuff's holding steady.
So the thing with the post office is we just don't have a board of governors that can suck its own dick.
Yep. So shoe industry, Nine West needs $300 million according to their bankruptcy filing. Video game industry, robot entertainment's laying off 30 people. High-end real estate business dropped 8% last year, the last year, right?
Yeah.
However, Trump's real estate business in particular dropped 30%. Ahead of the curve. Hey.
Yeah, right. Good.
Tourism and travel in the U.S. is super fucked right now, and that's all the information I have.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is all things that, and one of the things you didn't have, but I was listening to on the radio, GE, General Electric, is kind of in trouble, and they're trying to figure out how to restructure to become more profitable. And there was argument about selling off some of their assets, but then they also need their assets to generate revenue, so that's an issue. So yeah, it's just there's a lot of stuff going on in the economy. So this is actually probably the most free market it's ever been. Nobody's got their hand on the wheel. We're just going to see where the ship goes.
Yep, laissez-faire.
Yeah,
like lazy-faire in this case.
Yeah, we're fucking laissez-fairing like a motherfucker right now.
Laissez-faire because the president's just not assigning people to take care of it.
Because he doesn't understand. Like, that's a problem.
And
is
he
like
deregulates everything because the lobbyists said so, and now they have everything that they wanted. We can just sort of chill. Note the lack of any agenda on the Republicans' docket this year. They have shit planned.
Well, yeah, because they passed that stupid tax bill, and now they're all just going to retire.
Yeah. Like, half of them are retiring. They're not even coming back. And I've been knowing that Paul Ryan wasn't coming back. So whenever he announced it officially, it's like, yeah, I mean, I know. I'm surprised anyone's surprised by that. We've been knowing that a while.
Piece of shit.
I have one last piece of news.
All right.
Like I said, it's been a crazy fucking week. I've had so much shit written down.
I feel like we've done a good job covering it. What's the last piece of news?
This is something I actually just saw on the Daily Show and decided to write it down. There's someone named Deplorably Scottish. It is at Shenna Fox Music on Twitter. This is a fanatical Trump supporter in Scotland who is always coming up with stupid conspiracy theories that our president retweets and loves and likes to use, right?
Why can't we get I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm just saying, why can't we get a popular patron that goes like, oh, I like the crazy stuff that those muckrakers come up with, I'm going to share it with friends.
That would be nice.
Yeah. I haven't even looked at our numbers lately. I don't even know if anybody's listening, and at this point, I don't care, America. Tune in or don't. I'm going to keep talking.
Our numbers dropped by half since last week. It was really sad.
We're ahead of the economy. All right.
The police sketch done by Stormy Daniels, prostitute and, as Colbert said, a major historical figure. Well, she's not a prostitute, porn star, whatever. She released a sketch of a person who threatened her safety, threatened her family if she continued to talk about Trump. And Deplorably Scottish posted a picture of that police sketch and Stormy Daniels' husband and saying, oops, it looks like it was her husband. She got attacked by... They don't really look alike, besides they're both like white guys, but whatever. Our president retweeted that and said, oh, that's embarrassing, isn't it?
It is that you retweeted that post from Deplorably Scottish. It looks like her own husband was fucking threatening her. Huh? Isn't that fucking embarrassing?
Here's the exact quote. A sketch years later about a non-existent man, a total con job, played the fake news media for fools, but they know it.
I can't wait till she releases.
If they know it, then how is it being played for fools?
I don't know. I want her to release pictures of his penis now, just for that.
Yeah. So the Scottish lady, that Deplorably Scottish, she's actually a con artist herself, and she was arrested last year for stealing money from her church's choir to buy a plane ticket to America to meet Trump in person.
Well, that's the most Trump way. The only way she could have been more Trump is if she also sold that choir a shitty real estate deal that killed them in a fire.
And was also just like a front for Russian money laundering.
So she's on the right track if she's a Trump supporter. So
it's one criminal con artist supporting another criminal con artist while calling their victims con artists.
Yeah.
And that's America.
Ain't that America? Do. I also, fuck her. She's in Scotland. Like, why does she care about, like, I mean, stay there and eat your sheep stomach. I don't know a lot about what's going on with Scotland right now, but I don't know, man. Fuck you. Like, there's enough idiots over here. We don't need Scottish morons fucking with us, too. Although I think the Scots are pretty liberal. I don't know. I could be wrong. They might be really conservative, but I feel like they should be like, we've lived under the Trumps for many a year, and we do not like it.
You can take our deplorables, but you can't take our sheep's stomach stuffed with meat.
We've got fucking healthcare over here.
I don't know about what's going on right now.
I don't know. I feel like I should know more about what's going on in Scotland, because I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of my DNA is from Scottish people. But, yeah, I barely research what's going on in my own country, so. Well, is that the end of our podcast for today?
Yes.
You know what's terrible about Scotland is that I can't think of Scotland now without thinking of that awful Austin Powers, like, get in my belly! And then it was terrible. It's awful. It wasn't funny if you were an adult when you saw it. But I feel like the whole country's going to be like, I do not like it. I don't sound like that. It's insulting to all Scottish people.
I'm trying to remember some other fat bastard quotes.
I'm glad that I can't. I'm honestly, like, I thought about it. I go, that's about the only one that's still knocking around inside my head. And I'm glad. I'm glad I've erased most of Austin Powers from my brain.
I eat because I'm sad, and I'm sad because I'm fat. It's a vicious cycle.
I support President Trump because I'm sad, and I'm sad because I support President Trump. It's a vicious cycle. The more I support him, the more depressed I get.
Oh, wee little baby man, get in my belly. You already did that one, though.
See, that's what sucks. There's like 2 fat bastard quotes. My president's neck looks like a vagina.
It does, though. It does.
Yeah. You know,
it does.
I don't know how they went on to talk about, like, how Hillary's so ugly when, like, honestly, I've studied presidents. This is the most hideous president in the history of presidents. This is just an ugly dude, straight up.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, he's like fat and orange and waddly.
Yeah.
Lazy. He's ruined KFC for me because now anytime I go there, I'll think, aw.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's...
like our president's like 90% KFC if you are what you eat.
Yeah,
like that and double cheeseburgers from McDonald's, which I also used to like.
And that's what upsets me about this. I'm dieting right now, and I'm eating right, and I'm getting in shape, and, like, you know, I quit smoking and all that, and I feel terrible. And this moron's just like eating KFC's like, I never work out, and I look great. I just eat buckets of fast food. I don't care. Cheeseburgers. And I'm like, I feel miserable, and this guy's just living all kinds of wrong and is fine.
Our president actually believes that you have a finite amount of energy, and that whenever you work out, you just burn that energy, and then you don't have it anymore. So he feels like he's actually better off than people that exercise.
Yeah, because you're fat, as you said. The fatter you are, the more energy you have stored up. I guess in a real dumb way, he's kind of right about, like, look at all the energy I've stored up. It's hanging over my penis right now. That's just all energy. At any moment, I could go Super Saiyan.
Stormy Daniels claims to be able to describe his penis very, very well, and she did so on the Anderson Cooper interview.
Ooh.
They just cut it out.
What?
They didn't air it on 60 Minutes.
I mean, goddamn, like, I get it, but at the same time, dude, what the fuck?
She also seems to have, like, pictures and videos of it, but they haven't released that yet because it's tied up in legal proceedings.
Oh, that's going to be the best. Like,
the best is going to be when the pee-pee tape drops, and... Would you watch it? I mean, okay, let's say Trump never takes his clothes off. I would definitely watch it, but if he takes his clothes off, it's like, ugh.
Dude, I have watched the Pamela and Tommy Lee sex tape. I watched the Paris Hilton sex tape, which was really awful and boring. It was just Paris Hilton giving an awful blowjob. I think I watched the part of the Nancy Kerrigan sex tape to really go back. If you want to just, like, was it Nancy Kerrigan or what was the other lady?
I don't know, but I'm just picturing Nancy Pelosi now.
The Nancy Pelosi sex tape. I would watch it, though. I would watch a Ruth Bader Ginsburg sex tape because I'm a creep and I like creeping on political figures.
I guess so. We pretty much have to at this point, don't we?
I mean, if there was one of Gorsuch banging Mitch McConnell, I'd be like, I gotta fucking watch this.
I had Supreme Court news. Let me, go back up.
Did Gorsuch bang Mitch McConnell?
That would be grotesque. Because we'd have to, like, watch it live. We'd have to stream it live.
Oh
on a
my God,
podcast
we'd
or
be like, those
right?
Muckrakers reaction video. Gorsuch bangs Mitch McConnell. Here we go.
Oh, we'd definitely have to do, like, try to find some way to record our faces while it happens.
Oh my God, there's so many folds of skin. I don't know what's happening. It's like he took a turtle out of its shell, like a really old turtle.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. A new silver lining has appeared. Gorsuch, Trump's stolen appointee to the Supreme Court, has just cast the deciding vote, rather, in an immigrant facing deportation due to a quote crime of violence, and he ruled in favor of the immigrant. His judgment was that the crime of violence was violence is too vague to be supported by constitutional law.
Yeah.
So at least he's not a complete fucking deplorable monster.
Yeah, and that was my thing about Gorsuch was the stuff I read about him. Yeah, I didn't like him, but he didn't seem like he was another Scalia, you know.
I put him and Garland side by side, and they seem like the same person. Just one was nominated by the GOP, and one was by Obama.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, okay, y'all got this quote unquote win, but was it really?
Well, here's the interesting thing. I mean, I know we're running out of time, but here's the interesting thing about, and this is why out of all the branches, I kind of like the Supreme Court the most, is they kind of prove what happens when you remove having to campaign and political pressure from like governing, since they're appointed for life,
and needing to constantly fundraise.
Yeah. So they kind of make you know what I mean? Like they make they make decisions like based on what they think is best and based on precedent and all that stuff. And I would like to see that more in Congress. You know, the president can fuck off, whatever, but in the Congress and the Senate, I'd like to fix the campaign fundraising so people can get in and vote the will of the people. And this is a whole nother podcast spiel, but the Supreme Court kind of demonstrates that when you find a way to insulate people from political pressure, it can work sometimes. Now, there's a ton of times when the Supreme Court has fucked up, man. You know, we think about like, oh, Brown versus the Board of Ed, you know, they're doing some amazing things. But the Supreme Court also brought you Jim Crow with Plessy versus Ferguson. They also brought you the Civil War with Dred Scott v. Sanford. They also brought you Japanese internment camps with Korematsu versus the United States. So,
which otherwise amazing President FDR kind of happened under him.
Yeah, so like it kind of works, but like you can go back and go, man, they really fucked the goat on those cases. Well, but yeah, so I don't know. It works better. I still say it works better in Congress. It's probably our most functioning arm of government at any one time. You know.
Yeah, I mean, right now the judicial branch of government is the only thing stopping Trump from just going hog wild. Like, you know, this week he had several major court losses, such as, you know, how he made it so that people of transgender can't serve in the military, right?
Yeah.
The courts overturned that. They said, no, fuck you, they can.
Yeah. Well, like they seem like
what the other two were.
They seem like the only adult in the room slapping his hand when he's just like, I'm going to do this. No. Okay, I'm going to do that. No. Okay, I'm in it. No.
Right. So, and striving the deplorable is crazy, but this is like the only thing that's keeping him from being a total dictator. Those Congress ain't doing shit to stop him.
Yeah. I mean, thank God we got 3 fucking branches of government. Holy fuck. You know? Well, yeah, I think that's a podcast for the day. Unless you got anything else you want to share, anything you want to plug?
Nothing I can think of right now. Just keep watching the Mrs. B board on youtube.com/thriftingtonpost.
And as always, you know, please go online. We need likes. I think we're losing listeners. Also, to be fair, the listener thing is my fault because I didn't push our episode last week very hard because I was just having a rough week. So maybe my advertising was working. So go on
seems that way.
Yeah, go online, go on Facebook, go on Google, wherever you go to listen to your podcast. Subscribe to us. We need subscribers and we need ratings. That's how we're going to get more listeners, and that's how hopefully this will become our main job. So go on, give us a like. We still have a running thing where if you give us a rating and comment and subscribe, we'll say something super nice about you at the end of the podcast. And I don't think we've had anybody else subscribe or do that lately, but
if you give us any rating at all on iTunes, I check that every week just to see if we've gotten anything new there. It's still just the one, but if anyone else gives us a rating there, I'll definitely be sure to shout you out. Even if it's just like a 1-star rating and you say that you guys suck, I'll still be like, you're awesome.
Yeah, even if you call us, even if you're like, listen, those shady muckrakers are the worst, okay? Not fair. Michael Flynn goes to jail, life ruined. They still get to make podcasts. Totally unfair.
They're shady, deep state, liberal cucks.
Yeah.
Okay, they are totally deplorable.
Or I was
going to
say, or you
Michael
can
Flynn.
you can like us on Twitter too. For those of you who don't like Apple, which I understand, we're also on Twitter. Basically, anywhere podcasts are available on Google or iTunes and any of the subsidiaries, we are available. Please listen, subscribe. For those of you who do listen, we appreciate the hell out of you. You can also send us an email. We're still trying to get hate mail. At are we thosemuckrakers@gmail.com?
We are thosemuckrakers@gmail.com. And additionally, if you do @thosemuckrakers on Twitter, give us a follow there. But if you want to talk with us, I never check the messages there because I did a viral tweet a while back, and we still get like messages from that.
We do?
So I just kind of yeah. Oh God, people are still arguing in the comments section. so I don't check our notices anymore on Twitter, but I will be reading any emails that anyone wants to send us.
Yeah.
So
send us emails, good or bad.
If you want to talk to us, email us at thosemuckrakers@gmail.com.
It can be about anything. You like the podcast, you hate it, you enjoy my Trump impression.
Tell us about your day.
Yeah.
I'll listen.
You hate.
I'll write back and be like, man, that was tough. I'm glad you got through it. You're a really strong person.
You hate Walda Patrick's. That's cute news of the week. Or you
love it.
You want more?
You think that Peter's too hard on it.
You want more Bob Dole trivia.
You want me to make more sound effects.
Yeah. You also, even maybe you have your own conspiracy theories about who's wearing a Giuliani skin suit. We're willing to talk about all of it at thosemuckrakers at gmail.com.